You have indeed read the title and thumbnail correctly. Today, I am here checking out a preview build of MotoGP 25. Now, before we do get into it, I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to the guys over at Milestone for providing me with the opportunity to bring this gameplay to you guys. I can't express how much I really do appreciate it. It's a massive, massive thing for me. And of course, it goes without saying going into this that this is a work in progress build, so it's not representative, of course, of the final game. Things will change before it does, in fact, come out. Obviously, we're still nearly 2 months away from the actual release date, so if there are any issues in the video, they should be polished out before the game actually comes out. But without any further ado, let's press this start button and get into MotoGP 25 for the first time. So here we are in the main menu for the game. Then you can see we have had a little bit of a facelift here. It has changed a little bit. We've got a few options on this screen. You can see on the left hand side we've sort of got sections that we can go up and down in, so it's nice to see because they have been a little bit samey the last couple of years. You'll also notice some stuff is locked because, of course, with it being a preview build, we do only have access to certain stuff. So, for example, I can't show any of the customization stuff. That's all locked. Obviously, multiplayer is locked. I mean, no one's going to be on the game anyway, so it wouldn't really help. Unfortunately, the flat track Supermoto and Ovale stuff is locked off because I was hoping that might be in the build so I could give that a bit of a try, but fair enough. It's obviously a new feature and they probably want to save it, and it's probably going to have to be worked on a bit longer because it's obviously not going to be as refined as the Grand Prix stuff. And of course, career mode, as you would probably expect, is locked off. So I think the first thing that I will do is what I always do with my first impressions and head down onto the track with a random bike and just sort of give my initial impressions of the physics, because obviously that's what a lot of you guys are interested in. That's what I'm personally interested in most usually with these games. So we'll head into time trial. I won't bother going through the entire list of riders or anything like that because, of course, you'll kind of be aware of who the 2025 MotoGP riders are. I actually think I'm going to play as Quartararo today because the last video I did, or last thing I've done on MotoGP 24 before recording this, was playing on the Yamaha, so I'd want to have that back-to-back comparison. And for these first few laps, I'm just going to head to Sepang as well because that's what I always do for my test track. So without any further ado, I'll see you down on the track. So straight away there, you'll notice the cutscene looked a little bit different as we walked through the pits. Little issue there, I think, with Maya's head, but again, of course, it is a preview build, so you are going to get those kind of things, and it should be sorted for the main release. I've gone onto the soft tyre straight away. That could be a mistake, but in MotoGP 24, that was the meta, so I'll just stick with that, and we'll head straight onto the track. But I will be quiet and let you listen to the engine, because that is one of the biggest selling points of this year's game. With the switch to UE5, the engine sounds are supposed to be pretty significantly improved. Well, they weren't kidding. That sounded a lot better. Obviously, the pit limiter sound wasn't too pleasant, but the pit limiter sound just isn't that pleasant in real life either. But going down the pit lane, that sounded a lot better. I'll just be quiet again for a minute for you. I will do some full laps in a little bit where I've got the sound off, so if that's what you're interested in, there will be a timestamp in the comments below for that. But so far, bike definitely feels like it's got a bit more weight to it, which, I mean, in some aspects it kind of had too much previously. Track definitely looks better as well on circuit. I was actually a little bit disappointed when I first loaded in with the cutscene. It looked like the exact same, but yeah, on track, especially compare it back to back, so I literally just did a few laps at this circuit before hopping on to MotoGP 25. And yeah, it looks like night and day difference. Obviously the curb's still not updated, but again, stuff like that, all the deliveries and stuff are still going to be 2024. Of course, that will be updated in due course. Now, just I am doing the first couple of laps, and just before I give you a little bit of feedback, if you're new to my channel and haven't come across me before, you can probably tell by the channel name, but literally my entire content revolves around the MotoGP game and obviously some of the bike games as well, like GP Bikes. So I'm not just some random journalist that's hopped on the game and maybe plays it once a year or has no idea. I've been playing these games for a long time, so I hope that you will be able to trust my opinion based on that. But it's always a good sign when you get around the first lap without really any massive moments or difficulties. I'll start pushing a little bit more and get a bit down to it as we go down towards turn 1 and hitting the brakes. Probably braked a bit, yeah, braked quite early there, to be fair. But I tell you what, the front tyre overheated a little bit. It's going to be tricky to get a full read on the physics until you start really pushing the bike. This is obviously the problem you have on day 1 or the first time you try it. But so far, it does feel pretty similar to MotoGP 24, which isn't a bad thing because it was a really good step in the right direction, MotoGP 24. But it's not one of those games, like sometimes you jump on a MotoGP game for the first time, it just feels alien. It just doesn't feel right at all. But so far, it does just feel quite similar. I'll tell you what, yeah, the engine does just sound so much better. I wasn't expecting this much of a jump, honestly. I'm not a massive, I'm not too picky with the engine sounds particularly. As long as they sound kind of right, I'm pretty happy with it. But even to me, this is a big improvement. So I know some of you guys can be really, really happy to see that. Front feels a bit more planted, I think, than MotoGP 24, which is good because basically since MotoGP 21, really, the front end has been a little bit weak. They've improved it year on year. 22 was definitely the worst, I think, in terms of, like, you couldn't even really push, you couldn't even ride around slowly without crashing, really, on that game. The front end was just so, the rear pushed the front a lot on that game. So far, in the first couple of laps, I've done well. You know, this is my first fly lap, I suppose. It feels pretty good. We'll be able to tell by the lap time, you know, roughly how good it is. Obviously, the physics are going to be slightly different each year, so the time's going to be a bit different, but if it's sort of a 57, something like that, it's probably not too bad. 58, so yeah, it's a bit on the slower side, I guess. Uploading error, yeah, I guess that's to be expected. My times within the leaderboard, unfortunately, so I haven't got a world record there, which is a bit of a shame. But I'll give it a bit more of a push on this lap and see what I can do. Ride-out device does seem to go on a bit smoother than GP24. I always found it. In fact, I found the ride-out device since it was implemented into the game has not been super great. But it actually feels a lot better. And through there, you did notice I put it on, and on MotoGP 24, you wouldn't have been able to get it off into that left-hander. But I just put a bit of brake on, and that was enough to release it. So that is probably not the first thing I noticed, I guess, because obviously the front end I feel like is a bit more planted. But ride-out device feels better. It just feels more refined, which is a good thing, because honestly, they weren't a million miles away with GP24, in fairness. See, the front tyre is overheating a little bit, but it does seem to be similar to 24 in terms of the fact that the soft is the way to go. I'll probably whack down the traction on the next lap and see if we can get to spin a little bit, because obviously being in traction control 4 is probably not the fastest way to get around. But at the last corner then, up towards the line, this one probably is going to be, could be a 56 actually, which would be pretty much bang up there with what they were doing in testing in real life. 57.0, so yeah, it would definitely have been on the slower side, and obviously being on a game, it's not really comparable to real life. I've absolutely bottled turn 1 there, so immediately losing time to my ghost. But yeah, so far I'm quite happy with this. I'm quite positive. Does feel pretty good. Still get a little bit of wheelie out of there, but that's going to happen because it's not a ride-out device corner, so you're not really going to negate it there. But honestly, just feels smoother. It does just feel like a refinement over 24 so far, which I think is exactly the kind of thing they need to do, and I think it's exactly what this game's going to be. Based on everything I've seen from the trailer and stuff before this, it does seem like it's going to be a refined MotoGP 24. Obviously, again, a couple of little issues you've seen on screen. Preview build, it's going to probably be fixed for it should be fixed for the main release. So apologies about any little issues, but see, like I say again, it is a preview build. I just dropped it down to traction 2 there, and you can see I absolutely spun it up, because obviously I was using the same amount of throttle I had been on 4. Obviously, no traction control, well, there was some traction control, but not nearly as much to actually cut in and save me, so yeah, obviously you're going to have to use that throttle control. I'm not one for massively delving into the actual setup side. I'm quite happy to just jump on and sort of ride whatever. So I'm not exactly sure what the ideal traction control setting was for 24 or anti-wheelie or, you know, engine braking, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I know Power Mode 3 was the way to go because you just couldn't run out of fuel anymore unless you underfueled the bike. Apparently, I got a better run onto the straight last time. Again, it's turn 1, hard on the brakes, use a bit of flipping on the throttle, but yeah, no, it's going to be invalid this time. I think what I'll do now then is probably go for one more lap maybe after this one, and I'll just be completely quiet for that one for the engine sound, and then I think we'll then probably hop into a race and give a bit of a go with AI, because obviously with the physics, I'm really happy with them so far. Feels like a good step. So there you go, then 56.8 on that lap. Still plenty of time to find. There was so many mistakes on that lap. It was unbelievable. But you know, I can't keep going around forever. But having a couple more push laps after I last spoke to you has allowed me to sort of feel a couple more things. So yeah, the main thing actually for me really is the Radeon device. It just, the engagement, the disengagement, it's just so much smoother. So it doesn't just immediately sort of cause understeer as soon as you press the button. It actually does wait till it applies. It seems to drop down in a much more smooth manner, whereas before I think it was quite aggressive in the way it dropped. And that kind of caused the bike to get a bit unsettled. You don't need as much brake input to actually disengage it now as well, which is always great. Yeah, front end definitely feels well solid. I felt like I could push it a bit more. Again, it is hard to tell on the initial first playthrough. Like, you're going to have to be proper sweating in a race to really feel if you can really go to the edge of that front tyre. But it certainly feels better than it has done the last couple of years, which is great. Bike does feel like maybe it's got a little bit more weight to it in terms of it doesn't seem to sort of wobble about or get wheelies quite as much. So the actual turning is quite similar. It doesn't feel like too heavy in the actual turns. But again, the bike just overall is a bit more stable. Unfortunately, it does still seem like it doesn't turn super well through hairpins, for example. So you'll see through the last corner, I'm just understeering to no end. So I imagine the same thing will actually happen at Portimao turn 5. That's a massive example of it. It's been, again, like that since about 21, 22. So I guess that's just the way the physics have sort of gone. But yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed those few laps there. The physics are feeling really good. So I think now I will head into a race. Before that, I guess you'll obviously been watching the gameplay for the last maybe 10 minutes or so. I'm running ultra settings if you're running on the graphic settings. So this is obviously Unreal Engine 5 in ultra, but I imagine this is probably one of the things that will change the most before release in terms of the visuals, because obviously the extra 2 months to work on it and learn this new engine is going to be massive.
Welcome to all the motorsport fans who have joined us here in Brno to watch this Czech Grand Prix. In a few moments, we'll move to the main straight to watch the start of the MotoGP race. It's been a long weekend, but we finally reached the moment everyone's been waiting for. Just a few more minutes and the race will start. It's a beautiful day, even if temperatures are quite high. Riders will have to deal with a fair bit of tyre wear. Many have been forced to choose a hard compound on both the front and rear.
So I've decided to jump onto a race then at Brno now. thought I'd do Brno because obviously it's back on the calendar this year, and of course it's been a historic track over the last few years, so I imagine it's got a bit of a facelift going into MotoGP 25. And I thought I'd just show this little cutscene to show, again, some more of the graphical improvements. And I think the faces do look a little bit better. They seem to be the same model. It looked visually like the same model as we've seen in MotoGP 24. But you did see that maybe the textures and just the overall rendering in UE5 make it a little bit better. Although, again, obviously that kind of stuff is likely to change. That's probably the most likely. Assets are definitely going to change before the game comes out. Because obviously we've still got for the most part, the previous year's liveries or the previous year's bikes at the very least. So as I did in the time trial that we just did, I'm going to go quiet through some parts of this race so you can hear the engine. We are just going to do a little 5-lapper here at Brno from the back. I've got 100 AI on. I did just briefly try the adaptive, and obviously they're going to take a few laps to get up to speed, so they just were so off the line. So 100 should be okay. I usually would use 120, but obviously it's the first time on the game, so I'm going to be a bit slower than normal. But I can't wait to actually get into this and hear what the Ducati sounds like, because that is going to be absolutely mean.
Pego Bagnaia triggered the whole shot device, ready to start from pole position. Just a few more moments and the Grand Prix will begin.
Well, even that cutscene on the grid sounds better with all the revving, so I can't wait to hear how this Ducati sounds once again. So here we are then with the lights on, waiting for the Ducati here for this race at Brno. Hold it for a while, lights out, away we go for our first race on MotoGP 25. I'll just be quiet again down towards turn 1 so you can hear the engines. So there you go, then we made it one spot through turn 1, only on Marini. So we're going to go round the outside again. So yeah, the outside was really fruitful at turn 1, so let's do that one again. Obviously, you can see straight away we've got proximity arrows. Pretty sure that wasn't in the previous game. I mean, I've never seen them anyway, if they are, unless it's something you could turn off, and I just turned it off when the game first came out and forgot about it. But yeah, these blue proximity arrows, they definitely seem new. I think Marini's attacking me. He has indeed attacked me. He looks like he's got the old school riding style for some reason. I'm not sure what's gone on there. We've just passed both the, nearly called them Repsol Hondas, both the factory HRC Castro Hondas. And that's put us up into P90. Then Oliveira on the Pramac Yamaha in front of us. Then it's Raul Fernandez and looks like Alex Rins ahead of those two. So let's see, can we make our way through? Mir's just crashed behind us. So Jean Mir's hit the deck. So actually, so far, pretty realistic then. Sorry, Mir, but obviously based on his previous season and obviously the race at Thailand that we just had at the weekend. That's Oliveira trying to get, well, I say trying to get back alongside me. He's completely just outclassed me there, to be fair. Marini's dive on me. It's really putting me off how Marini's using the old school riding style. I'm really sure what's going on with that one. But he has absolutely mugged me there. So, unfortunately, not making the progress on the Ducati that we should have done. Raul Fernandez go for a bit of an optimistic move. Some get Chantra going through as well. So, to be fair, I am getting absolutely bullied here. Chantra actually getting a warning for irresponsible riding. So, I don't know if he was maybe responsible for that Mir crash, or maybe it was for the collision that we just had going in there. I'm not too sure. Some cat did pretty well to stay on there. He definitely lost the front going into that last corner. But, oh, Raul Fernandez just rams me out the way. So, tell you what, maybe 100 was a little bit too... Whoa, come on, Raul. Just put me on the curb. That's pretty aggressive from... Well, again, pretty realistic. Aggressive from Raul Fernandez. Shock. But yeah, maybe 100 was a little bit too high for the first race. I mean, Brno, the AI have always been strong here every year. It's an AI stronghold. I remember when it was on the calendar back in the day. I wasn't glad to see the back... Oh! Okay, massive accident there. I think we're going to have a look at that one on the replay, surely. That's what has happened there. They've crashed on a straight. So we're on board with Alex Rins here. And he's just braked for some reason. And yeah, that's obviously caught out, unfortunately. Poor Sumkiat Chantra. Now, again, this is one of the things that's definitely not refined in the game, is the AI, the tuning and the training. That, again, is one of the last things that gets done. So in this build, yeah, there are going to be issues with the AI, which I guess is what we're seeing there. But so far, they seem pretty... They're simple for a fight, that's for sure, because they're just beating me up in the last sort of sector of that previous lap. So let's see if I can get into a bit of a rhythm, sort of get up to speed on the circuit. Maybe we can start to fight back. Obviously, we are on the best bike, so we really should be fighting them. And Raul Fernandez left the door open a little bit there. Could try and repay the favour. What he did to me is another rider down. Oh, a couple of riders down. So that's a pass under yellow, so I might actually get a penalty for that. I'm not too sure. Oh, we've just hit Oliveira at the back. I mean, what is that? So it seems like in some corners they've got decent pace, and other corners they haven't, because Oliveira just carried absolutely no corner speed. Looks like the two KTMs took each other out, Binder and Acosta. So those were the riders that were down on the floor, which is, well, I'm sure Pit Bar is going to be absolutely thrilled about that. Bezzecchi gets a penalty, though, so maybe Bezzecchi was actually responsible for that. But there you go, hectic race so far, so at least it shows you the AI are up for a fight, like I said. Doesn't seem like there's been many like major issues either, like some tracks how they're just broken on the previous game on GP24. They just sort of run off the track for no reason. Doesn't seem like there's, at least at this circuit, any issues with that, but I think in the upcoming videos I do on this preview, I'll just do solely races, and we'll try the AI out at a decent amount of tracks and different bikes and Moto2, Moto3 and stuff like that as well. But it does seem like I am now sort of finding a bit of pace compared to not getting beat up as much. So actually, similar in MotoGP 24 in career mode, I kept getting beat up on the opening lap and then coming back a little bit. So we've got 3 laps. Let's see, we're 1 place off points. So let's see what we can do. I'll perhaps be quiet now and let you listen to the engine sounds again. So it does seem like it's a Schwantz corner. They are particularly strong. Oh, that was track limits. So I was lucky today because I absolutely cutted a sausage curb. I should have crashed by all accounts. Oh, so we've got Bezzecchi there in front taking his long lap. I think he's going to come out in front of me because, to be fair, it's not a bad long lap. We remember the famous Zarco one. Still can't believe that to this day. That was absolutely phenomenal. But we're right behind Bezzecchi now then, so we might be able to just about hear the Aprilia, although I guess we've been behind Ralph Fernandez previously, so I suppose we'll have already heard that. Oh, Bez makes a mistake. Can we try and take advantage of the Italian? We can indeed. Again, being able to put that ride-out device on earlier is just so helpful. You can put it on early through the corner. I think because it takes longer to sort of come down, it comes down smoother. Oh, Bezzecchi just absolutely rammed me there, though. It does just allow you to be a bit more confident with it, and, well, that was not too confidence-inspiring. I'll use a rewind there. That was a bit strange. I guess it's as the front wheel came back down, it really unsettled the bike. Yeah, I mean, look, the front wheel was full lock right, full lock left, sorry, as I was trying to tip into a right-hander, so yeah, that would be the cause of that crash. So that does still happen a little bit then, I guess, but it definitely doesn't seem as prominent as 24 in terms of the wheelies you get out corners, and that can be sort of controlled by just using a little bit less throttle as you first pick up. Again, the AI, though, being pretty aggressive, pushing me towards the curb, so they definitely showed me who's boss, and you can see the lap times now massively quicker as well. 52.1 for Di Gianantonio, and Marini's hit the deck. So down goes Luca. So we are just in the points here. Well, not now. Bezzecchi's got back past us, so that's the target. Just to try and beat Bezzecchi surely now. On the inside of Marco. It's fair, we've pulled it down. He's hit me, though. If I pick up the power, try and stop him. Can he squeeze up the inside to the left? Right-hander. Why am I getting my lefts and rights mixed up all of a sudden? I have no idea why. How many Tracklimits ones have I got? No, I've got one, so I thought I'd picked up a couple. Oh no. Okay, Bezzecchi's just rolling on the curb at the inside past me. They do seem... Yes, there's some corners where they're definitely a bit better. I mean, again, it's typical that they are quite strong at Brno. And obviously, with this literally being my first play of the game, I'm not going to be 100% up to speed, but hope you can appreciate that, you know, I'm hitting somewhat of a racing line. I'm not completely all over the place. Just the pace itself maybe is not there. They're quite strong into Schwantz, so yeah, it wasn't going to really be an opportunity into that. Maybe we can try up the hill now. You know what, he did struggle through on the previous lap though, so maybe we could try to take advantage. Yeah, he's done the same kind of thing again, thing that Agora did in the GP24 Fabio Quartararo Championship. Thailand, he kept doing that, but up the hill we go then. We've managed to pass Bezzecchi. Can we try to keep it? I'm going to brake really deep into this penultimate turn, and I'm going to definitely live to regret that one. Front tyre screaming enough, but I think we might have just managed to beat Marco here as we pick up the power, trying to square the bike off. I didn't want him to be able to sneak up these, had to push me towards the curb again, and we have just managed to get a point on the Fabio Ducati in my first race. So there you go then, a good hard-fought scrap for effectively nothing, really, just 1 point there. But we did manage to fight Bezzecchi, so that's pretty good. And to be fair, we were only 6.9 seconds off, so the pace wasn't too bad considering we were battling so much throughout the whole race. But I think that's probably where I will end it for this video then. My first impressions of the MotoGP 25 preview. Obviously, once again, I know I've said it a few times throughout the video, but it is a preview build. Work in progress, so things will change and it's not fully representative of the final build of the game. Once again, massive thank you to the guys over at Milestone for providing me with the opportunity to show this to you guys. I massively appreciate it, and I'm sure you guys do as well. Now, I'm allowed to make 2 more videos on the preview of this game, so do stay tuned for that. It's going to pretty much just all be races from here on out, obviously now that I've done my first impressions. So I'll probably do some races in MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3, try maybe some wet races, some dry, just to spice things up, a few different tracks as well. And I'll try and include as much audio as I can as well in those where I'm not speaking. I know obviously typically I speak over most of my videos, but I think for this example, I think it's a good idea to try and show those bike sounds because they do sound massively, and I hope it does come across that well on YouTube that they are honestly massively improved. So the next one of these will be coming out tomorrow at the same time this one came out. So if you want to be there to see that, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel, because then it'll be straight into your subscription feed. But whatever you do, I hope you do enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.